Good day, everyone. We are the sixth group from 12-6 GREGORIO with the research title of Correlation of the Use of Diversion Activities as a Coping Strategy on the Predisposing Factors that Affect Academic Performance during full online classes of grade 12 Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics or STEM students in selected schools in Cavite for year 2020 to 2021. And we hope that you're all having a great day. I am Bea F. Adarme and I will be the presenter of the first three parts of our research paper. Heading on to the background of the study, being it as one of the backbones in conducting our research, we decided and figured out that it would be better to start with a basic dilemma and continue it until it connects with our current situation. As mentioned, that dilemma we are referring to involves the different problems that students would usually encounter every day going to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is the main reason of the prevalence of online classes. And of course, if there's a problem, how would most students cope up with these? And what is its correlation with the different diversion activities used as a coping strategy? Ever since the online classes started to prevail, most students and also professors had a hard time adjusting to the new education system. For some, it might be because of lack of resources to be used for online classes, and for others, it might be because they do not know how to operate technologies. Every student also has his or her own learning style, and in this case, some students are said to be having a hard time studying at their own pace, unlike when they are studying in a face-to-face setup. The mentioned reasons have caused great amount of stress to the students who are currently experiencing full online classes, leaving the learners to find their own way of coping up with the said stressors by using different diversion strategies. With that being said, we, the researchers, would like to know if there's a correlation between diversion activities used as a coping strategy on the predisposing factors that affect the academic performance of grade 12 science, technology, engineering, and mathematics student in selected schools in Cavite. Now moving on to our group's statement of the problem, which intends to answer what really is the correlation of diversion activities as a coping strategy in response to stress, and the predisposing factors, which involves physiologic, psychologic, and socio-emotional factors on the academic performance of the respondents, which are the selected grade 12 students in Cavite. Our group's statement of the problem would be focusing on answering questions such as the basic demographics of the respondents, the diversion activity concerning the academic performance of the respondents during full online classes, also questions like which among the following predisposing factors has the highest correlation with diversion activities, and if there's a significant relationship between diversion activities as a coping strategy and the predisposing factors. That would be all for this part, and the following segments would be discussed by Ms. Camilla Cocjin.
Good day. I am Camelia Cocjin and I will be talking about the next few parts of our paper. So, the following slide shows the conceptual framework of the study. It shows the relationships of the identified variables. Here on the left, we can see the two independent variables, which are diversion activities as a coping strategy and the predisposing factors that affect academic performance. Diversion activities are coping strategies that distract you from the problem. So, instead of working on fixing the problem, you would, for example, watch your favorite movie instead, which does absolutely nothing about your problem. In a way, you can say that it is doing anything but addressing the matter. Predisposing factors, on the other hand, are the identified problems that students face. Physiological factors is all about sleep deprivation and eating habits. Psychological factors is all about students' learning styles and motivation. And lastly, the social-emotional factors are the anxiety and pressure students face. Now this line links together the two independent variables with the dependent variable, which is the academic performance of our grade 12 STEM student respondents. Also listed below are the extraneous variables which may or may not influence the connection of the independent variables and the dependent variable, which includes number 1, the hours spent for online class, because some students may only have classes for half a day while some have a full day schedule. Next is the environmental factors such as where they study or their general home environment. And lastly, the teaching style of their teachers, because some are under full modular setup while some have a mix of synchronous and asynchronous class hours. The next slide is the hypothesis of the study. It is a statement that is yet to be proven or disproven by the findings of our study. Let me read it out for you. The use of diversion activities as a coping strategy has no relationship with the physiological, psychological, and socio-emotional aspects of the grade 12 STEM students in terms of their academic performance during online classes. Now, for the scope and limitations of our study, our paper only focuses on the use of diversion activities as a coping strategy and its correlation with predisposing factors that affect the academic performance of grade 12 STEM students. Thus, our study is only limited to the selected grade 12 STEM students in Cavite. So, students in other strands and or academic tracks or even in other places of the country are no longer part of the scope of our study. Our paper is also limited to diversion activities as a coping strategy. We no longer touch on the other subtypes of coping strategies. Now, to discuss the next parts of our research paper, I call on Ms. Benichi Jubac.
For this part of our research, we highlighted the importance of our study regarding the different target groups. On the topmost are the students, whom we consider as the one who will benefit the most from our study. We believe that this will help them realize and manage the problems that they may be facing during the implementation of online classes, followed by the teachers and administrators of the chosen schools to inform them about the factors that affect their students' performance and to work hand in hand with them to make changes appropriately. Next, the guidance counselors to help them know how to help their students better and to understand what they are really facing during this time. After that is the Department of Education to help them perceive the changes needed to be done in the current online class setup. And last but not the least, the future researchers who may use our study as future reference. Next is the research design. The specific design that we chose to utilize is the descriptive correlational research design, which is the one that we favored as the most in line with the goal of the study, to know if there is a correlation between diversion activities as a coping strategy and predisposing factors. Another reason why is the effectivity of the design to answer the question what, which is mainly what we will be gathering through our research, and to know the extent of the relationship of the two variables if there are any. As for the research setting, the respondents will come from different schools in Cavite, namely De La Salle University Das Marinas, Emilio Aguinaldo College Das Marinas, Lyceum of the Philippines University Cavite Campus, and the University of Perpetual Help System Dal Tamolino Campus. Even though the usual setting of the research would be in the schools of the said students, the study will be conducted online due to the restrictions that were brought about by the pandemic. Therefore, the participants will be questioned and will be giving their answers through the Google Forms platform. This will take place within approximately 4 weeks after the start of the data gathering procedure to give time to those to accomplish the said questionnaire. The next part will be discussed by Ms. Angelica N. Vargas.
The respondents of this study will be the students who are currently enrolled as a grade 12 students under Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics strand, and also undergoes full online class for this academic year. The respondents will be determined through Snowball sampling technique, which pertains on finding respondents through recruitments and referrals. There will be 25 students from each university with a total of 100 respondents. The respondents will be divided into categories such as age, lifestyle, school, and gender to differentiate the data. The questionnaire consists of 32 item questions, which are self-made, and it will be further divided into 4 segments. The first segment will cover the use of diversion activities as a coping strategies, and the next 3 segments will be the application of the diversion strategies on reducing the effects of the said predisposing factors that will affect the academic performance. 5-point Likert scale is known to specify the level of agreement. So the researchers used the 5-point Likert scale to measure accurately the frequency of use of the diversion activities in general and as applied to the predisposing factors. Next will be the research procedures. Pre-experimentation phase will be the stage which the mandatory or necessary letters will be sent to the administrators of the 4 chosen schools that will permit the researchers to conduct the survey among their target population. At this phase, the researchers will also contact the statistician to validate the research instrument that will be used to the study. On the experimentation phase, the research instrument has been validated by the preferred statistician. The letters has been approved by the administrators of the chosen schools that will allow the researchers to distribute the link of the Google form to the respondents. The student will be asked to answer the survey completely. The researchers will give the respondents enough time, approximately 2 weeks, to browse and accomplish the survey. Lastly, on the post-experimentation phase, data that have been gathered from the experimentation phase will be tallied and will be treated statistically. The research or statistical treatment that shall be used will be discussed on the next slide. The gathered data from the post-experimentation phase will be analyzed and examined with the help of the statistical tools such as frequency distribution table, mean, Pearson or correlation coefficient, percentage, and standard deviation, which you can see at the current slide. First, we will discuss the frequency distribution table. It will be a great help to the study for it is used as a chart for the summarization of values and its frequency. It will be used to organize or give an outline to the data that have been gathered. Second is mean. It represents the average of the data set. It will be used to discover the average response of the respondents to the frequency of use of the diversion activities and also on how they use the certain activities on the problems they face. Third is Pearson or correlation coefficient. It is a procedure that estimates the relationship between two variables, wherein this study aims to determine or estimate the relationship of the diversion activities and the predisposing factors that affect the academic performance of the students who undergoes full online class for this academic year. Fourth is percentage. It is used to relate parts of a whole. It will be used to determine the total of the population who uses diversion activities as a coping strategy. Last is standard deviation. This statistical tool is known to estimate the dispersion of dataset. So it will be used to determine the distribution of data gathered per predisposing factors. That is all for our research presentation. Thank you. Have a nice day.